Welcome to Her Incredible Mind, where we are highlighting some of the most successful women in science, technology, engineering, and math. These women are inspirational leaders, showing resilience in the face of adversity. By sharing these success stories, we hope to gain insight, inspire, and help guide those who are struggling on their journey within this industry. Hopefully, their stories will inspire you or someone you know to pursue a career in STEAM. So thanks for joining us today on Her Incredible Mind. And we wanted to ask you if you could chat about your existing role.
Sure. So I currently work for Boston Medical Center as an applications and project analyst. Boston Medical Center is one of the largest hospitals around the Boston area. So basically work for them for the Epic electronic medical record system and focus around the Epic build, but also have worked with other systems as well. What we essentially do as analysts is we obtain operational needs from operational leaders, build out the modules in Epic, test it, implement it, and then train as well as communicate change in the end. So a lot of those steps as analysts. On the project management side, for the smaller projects, we manage our own changes and drive solutions with the help of leadership, of course, and just communicate and build and test and all those steps all over again, and just maintain milestones as we go.
It's a really good point to bring up the whole change management and communications that are needed on technology projects. I think you'll see a lot of that with large rollouts and small rollouts now, that they tend to focus on making sure that the user base is aware of the changes, making sure that people are trained and everything is communicated correctly. I think that that's a large part of technology projects and just projects in general that gets left out, and there's a big need for that. A lot of communication majors and a lot of people that are actually in HR too really need to work with you from the communication standpoint as well as from the training standpoint. So it's a good point to bring up. How did you decide on that role?
So I've always been in the healthcare since I started my career. Even before that in high school, I was involved. I was very passionate about healthcare and providing the right patient care and taking care of people. And I started, I didn't obtain my bachelor's in healthcare, but I obtained an exercise science. But I did start working for Mass General as a lab technologist after I graduated. So with that, the natural next step, partners at the time was implementing the electronic medical record system, which was Epic. At that time, I had just finished or was in the process of finishing my master's in healthcare administration. So I decided to hop on the bandwagon and take that leap and take the certifications for Epic and just join that project. And it was a really great step for me. The clinical world is great, but I think IT has a bigger platform to make a bigger impact on the organization.
It's an interesting theme that we see, right? Is that women go into their careers with one avenue, and then we eventually progress to another avenue.
Yeah.
And there's always another avenue after that sometimes where we decided in a total different direction. It's nice to see that at your age too, that you're really focused on that, and that that there's an evolution in the career, right? It's not just about this one career that you stay in forever. For some people, other people are really happy in one stream forever, and I sometimes envy them because I've been one of those people that actually is a little diverse in my selections when I've made them as part of my role in different organizations. So it's really interesting. What matters to you most when you're thinking about a role?
So what matters to me is the opportunity to use your skills that you have. So, anything that you've gained in your previous position, but then for the next position, what is that next position going to give you so you can grow professionally? that's a big thing for me. I do need to see a kind of a growth ladder. What would the next 5 years look like? What will I be working on? Are these projects something that fits my experience and as well as my passions for the healthcare industry? And that has a big impact on the decisions that I make, on the opportunities that I look for, whether it's in my current role in the project as far as projects or future roles.
Right, right. It's interesting because you focusing on the runway, I think, is a lot of what women need to do, is think about those steps that they're going to take, because if they do want to get to the next ring in the ladder, I think it's a little bit more of a it tends to involve a move, not so much in the same org. Sometimes, a lot of times, is that stepping outside the zone. I see a lot more with women than I would with men. Not trying to generalize, just thinking, like, when you think about what interests you, sometimes a lot of people, when they know that they have to progress in their career, they have to take chances, and it has to be outside, sometimes outside of the org. So
Yeah.
it's fun.
You got to get out of your comfort zone. That's you can get comfortable as women. We get comfortable in positions, especially with families, and
Right.
but don't be afraid to take the next leap, because there's always that next opportunity that you have the skill for.
Yeah, it's true, right? Stepping outside the comfort zone is one of the big things, and thanks for bringing that up. That's great advice. I would completely agree that not all of us feel comfortable doing that, but I absolutely 150% believe in it, that you have to do it. You absolutely do.
Yep.
So what do you enjoy most about your role?
So what I enjoy most about my work is actually talking to end users or leadership, and figuring out a solution for them. So they come to me with a problem, whether it's operationally or something in the system. And then I do my research and try to find an IT solution or epic solution for them. If there's no epic solution, I will try to find another venue. If there's no other venues, then we have an operational discussion.
Right.
But that's what I enjoy the most. I obviously enjoy all the technical aspects of it. That's why I'm in this field. So when I figure it out in the end, it gives me a lot of satisfaction. And I also enjoy presenting that to leadership, and like seeing their faces and their impressions when they actually have a solution. So yeah, there's lots of different things that I enjoy about my job.
That's great. Do you feel presentation skills are something that you've really developed over time?
Yes, yes, I did. I'm not the best public speaker, but I've been working on them, and it gets better as you go. You get more comfortable. There's always going to be that one piece of nervousness that pops up here and there, but just overcome it. And everybody is not perfect. There's nobody out there that has perfect presentation skills.
No. It's funny. That was one of the things, the challenges that I actually had to overcome in my career too, is the ability to present, because I tend to talk fast. And so it's a Boston thing, I swear. But I think that it's one of those, areas where I struggled to continue to improve. And then I just started saying, you know what, everyone's been in this position before. Everyone's had to present one time before, when they weren't prepared, or when they were prepared, but somebody, asked a question that, might have been different than what they thought they were going to be asking. And I think that's part of it too, is that kind of, that faith in yourself to say, I can do this. No one else hasn't been in this position right now. So let me just push forward. And I think that's a big deal with presenting, because you never get comfortable with presenting until you're comfortable with presenting, because you've done it so many times. Yeah. So you bring up a really good point with that. Agreed. So when you think about the obstacles that you faced in your career, what are some of the obstacles that you've overcome throughout your career?
So the largest obstacle obviously has been my English. I learned my English is my second language, so that with the presentation skills and all of that I've had to overcome. It's still something that I'm working on. And the other obstacle that is constantly presented and overcome is the IT world is constantly changing. There's lots of new systems. And you are not going to know everything, but you do your best to obtain as much knowledge as you can. Um, and that's an obstacle that I have to constantly overcome as well. But when I was in a clinical world and had to switch to the IT world, that was a culture change for me. So that was probably the largest obstacle that I had to overcome. Learn the IT side, learn the processes, just the steps that we need to take, and also get the certifications for Epic.
Right, and Epic is such a large platform and such, I mean, also it started by a woman, so and,
Yes.
Epic is major in
Yes.
healthcare, and I mean, when it came out and really took its stride, I mean, it really, kind of blew the waters out with healthcare across the board. I mean, the amount of functionality and everything that it integrates with is pretty neat.
Yeah.
So learning something that sizable, it's not like learning, Word or Excel or something like that.
Yeah.
It's an entire platform that it touches all parts of the organization. So yeah, that's definitely overwhelming, right? When you think about that.
Yeah.
It's nice to see though, that when you're looking at it from a change perspective, you understand that you have to break things down and say, okay, this is what I'm going to do now, this is what I'm going to do next, this is what I'm going to do. And I think that's a typical PM attitude, is very good with that, but it's always good to have that so that you're navigating to where you want to be. You're climbing that ladder as you see it fits into your world right now, which is
Yes.
really, really neat. So speaking of that, what would you tell your younger self?
What I would tell my younger self is, do not be shy to ask how you can grow. Do not be shy to ask the questions. What skills do I need for the next step in my career? Have that confidence to go out there and get that next step, obtain that next step. Even if you don't get it, don't be disappointed. Try again. So you will end up somewhere great in the end.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I think sometimes we never really know the reason why, you weren't chosen for a position or something that was different with you with that position. But I think that what happens is, we have to continue to have that confidence, and that's a great suggestion. I think you're absolutely spot on when you think about, continuing to believe in yourself. You always have to believe in yourself and keep going with it. It's the only way you're going to end up not only having the ability to move up the ladder, but also to give yourself that pat on the back and say, yep, I can continue on, I can continue on, I can do this, I know I can. So that's a big issue, especially with young girls. They need to continue to feel that confidence. So speaking of younger girls, what would you give for advice to them today?
What I would say to them is, find that one STEM field that you're passionate about, and you love, and learn as much as you can, and take the opportunity if it comes, and learn to grow within that field. And obviously, the confidence discussion that we had, have that confidence to go for them. STEM is not the easiest field to be in. It was, especially in the IT world. I've seen, even in healthcare in general, there are groups that are, nurses are mainly female, doctors are mainly male. There's still those barriers that we have to overcome. But it has gotten better, and that's because of courageous women that have gone for what the men had initially gone for. So have the confidence to go for it, because it's not something that it's exclusive to a certain gender.
No, absolutely not. It is definitely gender agnostic, in my opinion. So we'll see, but we've got to get those girls that are out there now. I think they're a lot, braver, and they do believe in themselves enough to say, I can do anything if I want to do it. So if you had to choose 3 words to sum up your LinkedIn profile, what would they be?
So my 3 words for my LinkedIn profile would be process improvement leader, because that's what I'm passionate about, and that's what I strive to go for. So
that is awesome. Thank you, Anisa, for being with us
you.
today. We appreciate it.